Bismillah. Ladies and gentlemen of press, we have called you here today to help us highlight the severe famine crisis that the people of Mandera are facing due to the prolonged dry spells. The drought situation is going from bad to worse due to the global climate change, resulting in 4 consecutive failed rainy seasons since 2020. Furthermore, the World Meteorological Organization has predicted that the 5th rainy season is likely to fail. This is a life-threatening prediction for the pastoralist communities and their livelihood. The number of people in need of humanitarian assistance is currently at 500,000. This translates to half of Mandera County population. Therefore, I appeal to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Kenya, President William Ruto, to declare the drought a national disaster. As county government, we are already working on an emergency response through water tracking and food aid for the vulnerable households in conjunction with the National Drought Management Authority and donors. We currently supply 1.8 liters of water to 192 villages daily. The drought is approaching its peak in mid-October and will require up to 4 million liters of water daily to save the people and the livestock over the next 30 days. Therefore, we need at least 75 million, that is Kenya shilling 75 million, for water tracking, fuel subsidy, borehole repairs and maintenance. It will also allow us to set up a rapid response team to fix borehole breakdowns and facilitate emergency response. Currently, about 80,000 households who are receiving cash transfers from various donors and National Drought Management Authority, and this, however, does not cover all the vulnerable families. An estimated 22,000 additional households needs cash transfer for the next 3 months. To protect these families from the adverse effect of climate change, we need an extra 1.2 billion shillings. Despite our concerted efforts, Mandera is still experiencing an acute water shortage, food insecurity, malnutrition, limited pastures, and reduced livestock prices. Moreover, the high demand for livestock feeds, with 50 kg of cereals going for between Kenya shillings 4,500 to 5,000, has pushed food prices higher. We therefore ask the national government and the international community to come to our aid. Mandera residents are primarily pastoralists, and they are losing a considerable number of livestock due to starvation and drought-related diseases. The high livestock mortality rate is making the food insecure challenge more severe. The cumulative livestock deaths in September across all the species stand at 365,283 cattle, 160,721 camels, 495,169 goats, and 495,169 shots, and 29,314 donkeys from January 2022 to date. The estimated number of livestock currently in urgent need of supplementary feeds, treatment, and water across the county are as follows: cattle 452, 724, That translates to 60% of our total population. Camel 386, 448, translating to 40% of the total population. Goats 1,365,841, translating to 40% of the population. Sheep 333,260, translating to 40% of the population. And donkeys 105,660, which translates 60% of the population. The drought has also affected our education sector, as hungry students cannot concentrate in schools. Moreover, schools will reopen when drought is at its peak, which calls for an urgent contingency measures, including water supply to schools, complementing the food supply to 41 boarding schools, and 312 ECD centers in our county. We need an estimated 370 million shillings for this intervention. Food insecurity has resulted in drought-related diseases affecting the pastoralists and their livelihoods. Due to the decline in milk production, reduced milk consumption, poor dietary and diversity, and reduced food intake by 29%, that is 108,735 of children under 5 years in Mandera face acute malnutrition. In addition, 4% and 3% of households scored poor or borderline for food consumption scores, respectively. In addition, only 13.5% of women ate healthily. Another 15,216 estimated caseloads of pregnant and lactating women require treatment. My humble request to His Excellency the President is to initiate the following measures to save lives and livelihoods: livestock offtake program by Kenya Meat Commission, releasing grains from the strategic food reserves, monitor of food supplies, and urge the private sector not to take advantage of the current situation by inflating cost of food commodities. We are ready to work with the national government to reduce the food insecurity or eradicate if possible, and the cost of living and hunger-related death of our people. Our people, their livestock, and the wild animals. This collaboration requires that moving forward, no Kenyan citizen will die from hunger and starvation. Finally, I wish to pass my appreciation and thanks to the partners who have been supporting us with interventions. National Drought Management Authority, Resida, Islamic Relief, World Vision, DRC, Kenya Red Cross Society, NAPAD, Care International, and Save the Children. We appeal to them to scale up the support to our people to cope up with famine. Thank you. I also want just to confirm that His Excellency the President has just directed that all the affected counties in the leadership to have a meeting tomorrow at Harambee House, chaired by His Excellency the Deputy President, to discuss the same. And we actually thank him for responding to our request and our plea. And we hope that we're going to have a very fruitful discussion tomorrow, so that we save lives and the livelihood of the drought-affected counties. Thank you.
And we already have felt the new administration is making the machineries to move and to mitigate the drought. We pray for you, and as the NGO fraternity, we are 100% supporting the government, both at the county government and national government. We will be working hand in hand, and we will be updating you on all of our programs. WFP has been doing relief food distribution since for a long time, and COCOP have been partnering with them for almost 16 years now. And now the new intervention of cash transfer is also 18,072. Many of our colleagues are also doing the same. And I'm sure the county government under your leadership is also looking into a lot of things. We have seen your manifesto during the campaign, and we are realizing we have started implementing them, and we will support you in making sure that we implement those manifestos to the fullest through your able administration and your county government officers. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We also thank you for the support. I've said it and I want to repeat it again. We don't take that for granted. My only request is coordination and collaboration. Let's coordinate so that we have an impact on the population. If we do it piecemeal, it's like we're going to do a lot of duplication, and you know our people are not very considerate. We don't consider the most vulnerable in some cases, and it's like we always fight for resources and forgetting about the most vulnerable within our midst. So my request is that we're going to share those data with you, because I've sent officers to every settlement in this county, specifically targeting the most vulnerable, the persons living with disability, the orphanage and the old age. People think that we are doing a parallel registration. No, we just wanted to make sure that the most affected are also in the list so that they get benefit. The messages we are getting on social media is actually not very good looking, and when we investigate, unfortunately, and some of those victims are relatives in this town, and we need actually to not to leave this thing to the government only. We have a responsibility as brothers and sisters to support one another. We have an obligation as a neighbor, we have an obligation as a relative, and if we don't help one another this time, I don't know when we're going to help one another. This is actually the best time to do, and I want to appeal to the NGOs again. We are not investigating anybody. All we want is actually to work together as a team so that we target the right people and the right population. So I thank the National Drought Monitoring Management Authority for coordinating the county steering group for the last 2 meetings, and we have made a lot of progress, and we have got a lot of information. I want to urge them to continue doing the good job, coordinating, so that in the next meeting we should have at least known the details of the beneficiaries. Not necessarily to know who they are, but exactly the areas covered and why we are not targeting the most vulnerable. It's like when we leave this thing to committees, they are always the same people who appear everywhere. You know, you have to go for a public participation, you will get the same elders, the same committees. If you go for an NGO program, the same people. So who is now, they are not very, they have been doing a good job, but are they targeting the right people? If that is so, then why should we not have a family in Tawakal in these programs of cash transfer? And if you go there, they're the most vulnerable. So these are the areas that we need to look at. Let's not get the raw data we get from committees as the true picture of the situation on the ground. We need to do verification. Even yourself as an NGO, when you get the list, take time and verify whether the information we are given is correct, and by visiting actually samples of those households. I'm sure with the report we're going to get in the next 2 weeks from our sub-county administrators and the relevant department, we're going to share with you the situation on the ground, so that at least we should not allow anybody mtu atakufa wakati yake ifika, lakini not kwa sababu ya njaa. Thank you very much.